Toronto's path network is the world's largest underground pedestrian walkway, spanning more than 33 kilometers. It consists of 4 million square feet and approximately 1,200 retail units where you can find restaurants, shops, bakeries, grocery stores, and basically any retail service that you would find on the street. From this series of pathways, you can walk below the city streets from Toronto's waterfront, through the financial district, the entertainment district, and all the way up to City Hall and Yonge and Dundas Square. And in this video, I did just that. Hey, I'm Mark, and I invite you to join me as we explore Toronto's path network. Annual revenues from the path exceed $1.7 billion, and hundreds of thousands of citizens, commuters, and travelers navigate its corridors each day. Linking this underground system are more than 75 buildings, including commercial, residential, hotels, and venues. The path is a great perk, providing a very comfortable and easy way to navigate the downtown without ever having to endure the elements outside. But this convenience was originally for the benefit of the T. Eaton Company and its shoppers. The company built the very first tunnel back in 1900 to connect two of its stores near Yonge and Queen Street East. Over the next 17 years, 4 more tunnels would be built in downtown. When Union Station was built in the 1920s, a tunnel was constructed to connect the train station to the Royal York Hotel. These early tunnel systems laid the foundation for what would become the path that we know today. Over the decades, the path network expanded greatly as the City of Toronto took over the task of coordinating and paying for the design and construction. And the result? 33 kilometers of underground pathways, 4 million square feet of retail space, and a great pedestrian system to help people flow through the city with relative ease. And the path network will continue to evolve as new commercial and residential buildings are built in the downtown core. But the path is sometimes criticized for how it can feel disconnected from the city and life above ground. It's true that the path falls short when it comes to public entrances in comparison to how massive the network is. In fact, about 70% of the entrances to the path are found within the privately owned buildings that sit above it. A lot of these lobbies are open to the public and the entrances are accessible, but people maybe just don't think to use the path. The entrances aren't really presented to you the same way as, say, the subway entrances, which are right on the sidewalk. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. Because the path is predominantly used by commuters and downtown office workers, you'll find that a lot of the retail on the path is closed after regular working hours. On evenings and weekends, it feels like you're walking through a gigantic closed mall. For this video, I downloaded and paid for the PathMap app, which is run by the City of Toronto. It cost me $3.99 for 7 days, but the app isn't that useful, so I don't think I can recommend it. I ended up having to use the PathMap app, plus Google Maps, plus the actual signage on the path to basically triangulate where I was. The app isn't very functional because it lags pretty bad, which may be due to the fact that I'm underground and below tall office towers. But because of this lag, it never really showed me where I actually was. Instead, it gave me a kind of a vague idea of where I was, and even when I waited for it, the app never caught up to my location. I got turned around a lot, even having a good sense of where I was trying to go. It's just very disorienting down there, and there's a million different pathways, so just take your time, keep your eye on the signs, and just use your compass or your Google Maps. So the old system of navigation and signage used colors to indicate what direction you were headed, but they recently changed that to make it a little easier. Today, the path uses neighborhood and landmark names to indicate which way you're going. And accessibility symbols, of course, indicate which way to go for ramps or elevators. And if you need these services to navigate the path, maybe consider sticking to the city streets. Accessibility, I'm sure, would be challenging because there are an endless number of stairs and escalators throughout the path. Due to the patchwork way in which the path was built, the path changes elevation constantly, and new sections needed to be built up or down to meet up with existing infrastructure. The path is connected to several subway stations, so you can actually travel considerably further underground beyond the path network. The stations are spread out around the path, and you can actually take the subway from one place along the path network and then get off at another part of the path network. So if you want to travel underground and stay sheltered from the weather, but you don't want to walk, you can do that on the path. There are an endless number of food courts, food halls, and restaurants on the path. So if you get lost down there, don't worry, you won't starve. A few notable locations along the path network are Table Fair and Social, Union Market, Chef's Hall, and Queen's Landing. Okay, so using Union Station as a starting point, if you head south, you can take the path to the waterfront on Queens Quay East. You'll basically step outside and be right across the street from the Jack Layton Ferry Terminal, which will take you to the Toronto Islands. After leaving Union Station, you'll first pass through Scotiabank Arena, home to the Leafs and the Raps, and then into the Maple Leaf Square and Jurassic Park area. Maple Leaf Square is a multi-purpose complex. The project was a $500 million development deal between Maple Leaf Sports and Entertainment, Cadillac Fairview, and Lanterra. This development is 1.8 million square feet and includes restaurants, commercial space, retail, residential towers, and even a Longo's grocery store. Connecting the path is a series of pedestrian bridges that cross over the busy city streets below and offer some great views. Certainly a perk of living in these buildings is your access to entertainment, food, transit, maybe your work, all without ever having to step outside. An interesting highlight along this section of the path is an original piece of Banksy art called Guard with Balloon Dog. The real estate developer Menkes, who built 1 York Street, unveiled this piece of art in 2017. The famously anonymous artist created this piece on the rear facade of a vacant building at 90 Harbor Street. The developer bought that property and preserved and restored the graffiti and then put it on display at the 1 York Street project. Okay, so heading back to Union Station, we're gonna start walking west. That encompasses more downtown office towers and residences. It includes the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, the CN Tower, Rogers Centre, and the Entertainment District. You'll also find the Up Express train station here, which is the direct train service to Pearson International Airport. It's important to note that the west section of the path has a piece missing, and that is that the path which leads to the convention center does not connect directly to the entertainment district. If you're planning to go to the CN Tower or the Sky Dome, the path will get you most of the way there, but not all the way. So you need to step outside near the convention center. If you're heading to the entertainment district, you'll need to head north through part of the financial district first, head west when you hit First Canadian Place, and most likely you'll want to start looking for an exit to street level after you pass St. Andrew subway station. This is where you're going to find the Royal Alexandra Theatre, Prince of Wales Theatre, Tiff Bell Lightbox, and Roy Thomson Hall. Roy Thomson Hall actually has its own path connection, so keep an eye out for directional signs leading to Roy Thomson Hall. This iconic concert hall is home to the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, and it's also one of the main venues for TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival. The lead architect, Arthur Erickson, is considered one of Canada's greatest architects and is responsible for other iconic buildings like the San Diego Convention Center, as well as the award-winning Canadian Embassy in DC. So if we reset our position again and head north from Union Station, we'll head towards the financial district. And the very first stop is just through the doors that connect Union Station to the path. If you take the very first left, that will lead you to Toronto's most famous hotel, the Fairmont Royal York. Originally named the Royal York, the hotel opened in 1929 and was built by the Canadian Pacific Railway Company. It's one of several grand railway hotels built across Canada, like Chateau Frontenac in Quebec City or Banff Springs in Alberta. The Royal York, in fact, for a period of time was the tallest building in the city. Today, it's dwarfed by the surrounding office towers, many of which are connected to the path. The grand staircase that connects from the street to the hotel lobby also has small staircases on either side that connect directly to the path. The hotel lobby is an attraction in itself, and the Christmas decor is some of the best in the city. The history, the architecture, the design, and the guest experience is something that deserves its own video. But stopping in here to see one of Canada's grand railway hotels should be on your list if you're traveling to Canada. Another branch of the path that is close to Union Station leads to Brookfield Place and the Hockey Hall of Fame. This 5-acre office complex consists of 2 office towers and are connected by the Alan Lambert Galleria. The 6-story atrium was designed by Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava, and it's one of my favorite architectural spaces in Toronto. With the inclusion of historic building facades, the Galleria ties in the financial district's history with contemporary architecture and functionality. Underneath the Galleria and back on the path level is where you'll find the entrance to the Hockey Hall of Fame and a food court. Continuing north through the path, you'll enter the heart of the network. Visiting on a weekday, you'll get to experience the fast-paced life and work culture of the city. I would say that this central area of the path is the most confusing. There are several different directions, there's food courts in every direction, and what seems like endless corridors leading from one office tower to the next. If you're near the Scotia Plaza, Commerce Court, TD Centre, or First Canadian Place, and you get lost or turned around, don't feel bad. It is confusing. After passing through the core of the financial district, you'll pass by the Sheridan Centre, which is a large hotel and conference center. Then you'll hit City Hall. Basically, the path just peters out and you'll be forced to face the great outdoors. The stairway exits right into Nathan Phillips Square, where the city hosts events and festivals throughout the year. During the winter, the water fountain is turned into an ice skating rink. You'll find restrooms, skate rentals, and a concession stand here. To get to the Eaton Centre via the path, you'll need to head east from the Sheridan Centre. The path will basically lead you right into the Bay department store and then into the Eaton Centre shopping mall. While the Eaton Centre isn't the largest mall in the country, it's gotta be the busiest. Because not only does it act as a shopping center, but due to its connection to 2 subway stations, the path, several busy downtown streets, a hotel, several office towers, it sees a lot more traffic moving through its corridors than most other malls. The Eaton Centre, of course, is named after Eaton's department store, which has a long history in the city. Like I mentioned at the top of the video, T. Eaton Company built the very first tunnel back in 1900. Over the years, the company grew and expanded, but eventually it went out of business sometime in the 90s. The Eaton's brand and IP was purchased by the current owner of the mall, Cadillac Fairview, and the Eaton name has been kept as a tribute to Timothy Eaton, who about 125 years ago opened a small shop on the site. At the north end of the Eaton Centre, you can exit onto Yonge Street and you'll find yourself at Yonge and Dundas Square. To stay on the path, you need to travel straight through the mall and into the Dundas subway station at the north end of the property. From here, you'll travel a short distance into what feels like a mall that hasn't been updated since the 90s. This is the Atrium on Bay, and it's the northernmost point of the path network. But unlike at City Hall, where it just ends with a staircase, here in the Atrium, it ends with a red lobster. It's like finding a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. I've got more videos like this one and more planned for the future. Please let me know if you liked this video by giving it a thumbs up, and if I missed anything that you think people should know about, please leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.